Okay, well, it's good to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Um, I know it's testing times for everyone, and we've all been through a lot this last year, which has influenced my writing. But there's still a bit of fight in me yet. But I would like to start my set with a poem that I often start, which is called Prejudge, because there's things about your story I don't know. There's things about my story you don't know. And, that you may not know that I was born in Tripoli in Libya, in North Africa. You may not know that my mum used to tiptoe out at night in her slippers with a pillowcase and steal coal from the local train station to keep us warm. And you may not know that she used to go to the butcher's for bones for the dog, and we didn't have a dog. It was to add to vegetables to sustain us. This poem is called Prejudge. Summarize the projected image. First impressions, public outer disguise. Judging, not exploring the inner story behind the stranger's eyes. Naturally, we're drawn to certain people that we feel most comfortable around, want to belong, connect, to fit, social community, common ground. Preconceptions, distorted perceptions, prejudging of that we're all guilty. Typecasts and titles given. Goth, chav, dumb blonde, LGBT. Eligibility and participation of pecking orders, clans, class. Reject being defined. Unlock that box and disassociate from this farce. Open eyes, hearts and minds. Embrace, encourage inclusivity. Rally our rich mix of differences and incite a harmonious society. Thank you. That's Prejudge. And that's from my latest book called Permission to Speak. And I like to encourage people to write their stories. Today I was in the mental health ward encouraging some really poorly people to express and write and get it out. And I found my voice in my mid-40s. I wrote a poem when I was 12 and a half, and the teacher put A+ and then scrubbed it out and put underneath, is this all your own work? And I didn't write another poem for over 30 years. So I always say, be careful how you use your words because they're powerful. They're really powerful. And then I was going through a difficult time in life, and I wrote a poem and I hid it. And it's in my latest book, Permission to Speak. And it's called, there it is, it's called Complicated Love, the Hidden Poem. And then I continued writing, and it really helped me through all sorts of difficult times. I am quite a chatterbox, as you may gather, and I do talk a lot, and occasionally there's a time when you do have to keep it zipped. And I wrote a really short poem called Zip It, particularly around family and Christmas times and things like that. Verbals like gerbils safely stored in my cheeks. Troubled words keep bulging for weeks and for weeks. Puffed out face like a trumpeter. Stretched at the seams, cheeks extended to the fullest. Don't spill the beans. How long can I do this? Hidden words amass like a curse as my features distort, almost fit to burst. Hoard and stored spoutings, it couldn't be worse. Grit my teeth, keep my mouth shut till it's safe to converse. That's Zip It. And then I've got some beautiful family and some, we often have a little tipple of something to celebrate occasions, don't we? Although I've got a mock mojito here. And some people, alcohol doesn't seem to suit them, or they don't know when to stop. And I wrote a poem called Words Hurt. Saturday night begins with drink, with fun, with frolics, but after drinking far too much, the whole night turns to bollocks. You're clever, funny, entertaining. Then you start to change. The drink continues more and more, and then your look is strange. I love you so much. You're the best. We must all stick together. I love you too, but not so sure as you continue to get leathered. Your vicious tongue whips out those quips. At first we laugh, so witty. But as you drink a little more, they change to something shitty. The prodding jibes get hard and loud at everyone's expense. An awkwardness surrounds you. The atmosphere is tense. We try to change the subject. You have another beer, and then you continue pouring out the verbal diarrhea. The next day never changes. Can't remember what I said. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. The damage is still in my head. As years go by, we make excuses. She's sad. She's really stressed. As years go by, our patience frays. It makes me so depressed. Why do they say they love you and drink and make you hurt? Why do they say they love you and speak to you like dirt? It really is a dangerous game, testing love to the limits this way. I eventually protect myself and simply walk away. I like to run outside in the garden naked sometimes. My friends take the mickey out of me. But there's an official international, world naked gardening day. And so on all the social medias, just as a joke, I dared everybody. I said, go on, I dare you. Out you go in the garden, get some fresh air on your skin. And a friend of mine said, if I went out into my garden naked, even nature would blush. And we laughed. But then I thought, actually, nature never blushes. A rose does not compare itself to a dandelion or a daisy, to any flower. They don't compare themselves. They're just being the best they can be. And so I wrote this poem, Nature Doesn't Blush, and that'll be coming in my new book this year, which is going to be called Permission to Love Yourself. So please try not to compare yourself too much and be the best you can be. Here it goes. Nature's beauty shines proudly. Vast varieties, colours, shapes, scents and complexities stand side by side. All are clothed and complemented with verdant shaded backdrops to show them at their best. They celebrate their divine design and unique essence without need for comparison, oblivious to others. Nature flourishes, sharing its blessings without blushes. Thank you. So have a go at that. I dare you. I can see you smiling, Sam. So yeah, COVID and lockdown, and there's been some difficult times, hasn't there? But a lot of learning times too. And in 2020, on World Poetry Day, I wrote a poem called Clarity, a very short poem. And it was just thinking that, there was a few doors that needed closing, and there were some of the doors that were opening. And yeah, I just wrote this short poem, Clarity. Learning, mindfully moving on, step forward on my path of clarity, firmly pull the door behind me. Clear out to enable love and life in. Make room for affirming people to climb into my heart, mind, and time. A lot of lessons to be learned. I have many poems that I've written through lockdown, and some of them I did a thing for the Northamptonshire Rights and Equality Council, and it was for the Stephen Lawrence Project. It's on YouTube if you want to take a look, because I haven't got time to share all my poems today, but it's called No Entry. So I'd love you to take a look at that on my YouTube channel if you have time, and subscribe if you like as well. Why not? And through lockdown, one of the things I missed most was hugs and touch and just being close to people and friends. And but actually, because I wasn't traveling all over the country or in Europe performing, it gave me time to be part of other projects. And I was part of a thing called the Sirens Project. And there were some gurus, and they set us all these different ways of connecting with nature. And one of them was to sit inside a tree and just be with nature and write. Another one was to walk within a stream and sit and meditate with the stream, you know, quite hippie stuff. And the other one was just to lay naked in grass and be rained upon. And so I did that. And it was like I had never smelt grass in my life. You know, I'm 59 years old, and it was as if I had never smelt grass before. So it was a beautiful experience. And this poem is called Connecting with Nature, and it's in the Sirens book. And Benji Dotan filmed it. We tried to reenact the actual experience again because it was so incredible. And it was on a Sunday morning, very, very early, about 6 in the morning. Connecting with nature. Mindful gratitude and sleepy dust eyes. Barefoot whispered, "Good morning." I stepped into a blessed new day dawning. The angel white feather chose the lush green worship space. I lay down on an earthed altar of grace. I so missed being held. Nature lovingly wrapped herself tightly around me, touched by long dewy blades, tenderly tucked in by light unfurled breath. I smelt grass for the first time, awakened happiness. A Sunday sunrise eve, my freedom skin was welcomed in, alive, accepted fully, truly connecting. It was an amazing experience, absolutely amazing experience. And the other, leading on to not comparing ourselves and not being tough on ourselves. You know, a lot of women, the minute they wake up, are looking down at their bodies and not feeling perfect. And it's at this time of the year when all the adverts and all the advertising are saying, be smooth and be this and be that. And every morning women are waking up feeling imperfect. And I read this poem in Stamford, and a lady said to me, you know where this all started, don't you? In the 1920s, Gillette invented the first disposable razor, and they made a lot of money. And then they thought, hang on a minute, what about the women? We could make some money there too. So they did this massive advertising campaign. It wasn't true, but saying that in Europe, all the women were smooth. And they made even more money. This poem is called Retro Afro Muff. To depilate or not to depilate, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the stings and narrows of outrageous pubic misfortune, or take underarms, legs, and mound against the sea of troubled peer pressure. Millions of pounds spent in chemist aisles to make a suitable impression. Cultural traditions, fashions, adverts from the media obsession. to follow the trends of shaven and shorn, to wax a thatch and match the look led by porn. Tweezers pluck, contraptions remove, lady razors, creams and waxy strips. How strange this prepubescent look is required for her feminine genital bits. Slippy, slidey, pink temptress, smooth runway strip. The next day, itchy, scratchy, stubbly Velcro grip. Or neatly trimmed and coiffured, natural woman in the buff. Topiary garden, a healthy protection, embracing her retro afro muff. Thank you. Oh, so silly. But so true. What, why are we trying to look like 12-year-olds and porn stars? What's that all about? There's so many poems I like to share with you. One of them I wrote in the middle of lockdown, and I was trying to help my word weavers just to escape to some far off wonderful place, because there was a lot of tough stuff going on. And as I was escaping in this far off place, and I always want to jump in the sea. I think I was a mermaid in a previous life, I think. And I imagined laying by the beach, and I was writing, and then I started to think, do you know what? I think I'm ready for a relationship. I think I've been single long enough now. The irony of that, in lockdown when you can't meet anyone. But anyway, and I thought, if there's someone out there who can be bothered to get to know my heart and mind, that oyster, I would share my treasures. So this is called Oyster Mind. Waves lap, seagulls' calls collide. Ambient, blissful calm inside. Oil-blessed, golden, silky skin welcomes nature's new dreams in. Floating driftwood thoughts, oyster heart and mind, open, precious, treasured find of shared pale skies and barefoot shores, a joyful peace, hope, trust assured. Take my hand. And time to understand, embrace who I am today in every way. The looker, the healer, creator, homemaker. Listening eyes glisten, sweet smiling applause, adoring my flaws as part of me, as poetry. I realize through life-drenched eyes, I am loved. You love me. I love me, totally. My lover, my sea, shared energy. I'm running out of time, I do believe. There's a slightly naughty poem that I haven't shared before, and it's going into my new book, Permission to Love Yourself. And this is where usually spoken word adds to the written word on the page, I believe. But there's one word in this poem, and the poem is beau. And it's spelt B-E-A-U-X. So it's meaning lots of beauty, isn't it? But it could be in spoken word as in bows. Anyway, so imagine yourself as your favorite sweet, and imagine being unwrapped. And this is called not caramel, but salted caramel eclair. Long creative fingers unwrap the sweet female form to explore the taste of full, fruitful lips, hips, and curves from the soft flesh conserve. Cherries playfully gripped and licked, hidden licorice center flicked with focused tongue, driven by desire of connection. Pulses react, bodies reenact the primal feast. The bows pierced by love lust infused arrows. long awaited, frustrations abated, negated as passion fruit flows and guttural noises crow, declaring all. Breathless, quickening rise and fall of salted, glistening skin outside and in, completely unwrapped. Thank you. And moving swiftly on. I recently wrote a poem. It was part of, I was recommended by Poets of London. They were looking for a female poet, and hundreds of poets applied, and it was for the Women's History Month and for World Poetry Day, and we had to write in 30 words a piece for this, for Facebook app UK. So I just had some really sad news and about a family member, and I was just on my own, and I just started writing, and a week later I had the call saying, you are one of the 3 that's been chosen. And about 15,000 people saw the poem, and it was on World Poetry Day, and I felt really proud. And it's very, very simple. It's very, very simple, and this one's on YouTube as well, and it's called I Am Woman. Daughter, mother, sister, lover, grandmother, family, smiler, hugger, storyteller, blessing naturally, word weaver, hope giver, encourager, friend to many, creative choices, freedom, voices, permission to speak, loving me. Very short, 30 words. And what I didn't realize as I wrote it, that it's going to finish the book, my new book, in the summer quite nicely, because I had no idea how it's going to finish. And it's funny how things work out, isn't it? So I would like to finish by encouraging you all to have a go at either writing or splashing some paint or dancing in the kitchen or singing. It doesn't matter if anybody listens, it just doesn't matter. You have permission to have a go at that. So this is my poem, and I'm going to finish with this poem, and it's called Permission to Speak, the title of my CD and audio. And get in touch with me if you would like a copy. So here we go. We all have a story, questions, intentions, desires, a wish, family memories, love, realities, anguish, conversations buried, suppressed needs to express, to declare our truth, to process and address. Creative expressions may start with a brushstroke, a whisper, a written word. Sing out your life dance. Now is the time to be heard. Let's voice our observations and feelings. Drown out that inner critique. Truly bless and give ourselves full permission to speak. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, Kezzabelle, this was wonderful. You know, what impressed me was, of course, your poetry is wonderful, but your delivery just is something that should be studied, because so many poets is just looking down at the book, and it's, you know, it doesn't work, particularly in person or visually, and you really nailed that. I want to ask you one question, and then I'll open it up to
Okay.
the other members. Where are your books available?
On my website, which is the 3 W's, kezzabelle.co.uk, and you can get in touch with me on all the social medias anyway, and my Weaving Words groups are available online on my social medias as well. I've got a film coming out, a 90-minute film coming out at the end of May, and it's a weaving words experience. And that's lots and lots of workshops and art and writing and raging fires and nature and lots of prompts to help new writers or established writers to enjoy some more writing. So that's quite exciting. That's a new project that's coming out at the end of May. But you'll see it all.
You have a radio show, right?
Yeah, it's starting. Yes, it got delayed. So yes, so it's the radio show is starting soon. It's for Spectrum on Air Radio, and that's starting in a matter of weeks because it's a completely new station. So that's called Kezzabelle Poet Weaving Words on Spectrum on Air. So again, keep an eye on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, or on my website kezzabelle.co.uk, and it's all be coming out. So it's all rather exciting.
Does anybody have a question for him? You could just pipe up.
I was so impressed with how you feel so comfortable with your voice. And I know that when I write poems, sometimes I'll write, because I read a lot, so I'm bringing in this extra stuff. And I think this is the way I need to write this poem. And so I have another editor there that's blocking my voice. And then finally I've got to come back and go, but that's not me. And I have to, and I actually have to I have to be like, just tell myself to relax and put my Melinda in my poem.
Definitely.
Do you go through that struggle, or do you just have you once you decided this was who you were going to just go? I mean,
when I first started writing 12 years ago, so it's only been recent. I was just writing for me. It wasn't for anyone else. And that is what I've stuck to, apart from unless I'm commissioned to write a eulogy or, like this 30-word poem. But even then, I wrote it not thinking, will this please someone or will they like it? I wrote from the heart. And I just think usually, even if it is a bit naughty or a bit saucy or raging, I've got some really shouty poems as well that just like, fucking blah, and just getting it out. It doesn't mean they all come out into a book, Some of them are absolutely disgusting and some of them are raging and, but it depends what mood you're in. But I really think it's important to stay authentic. I really think it's important. I'm part of a group called Rutland Poets, and I have learned a lot from them. So each month we get together, and they're different backgrounds, all sorts of different styles. And because I wasn't brought up traditionally, really, I didn't go to a university or learn. I was writing things, and they, in a way, sometimes they'd say, you're not really meant to do that. But actually it works. And so there's things I write and do that are probably you're not meant to. And I do. But I have learned such a lot from them as well, about keeping things concise and what you're getting across, and which is what I do in my Weaving Words workshops. Somebody will write a line and I'll say, what were you trying to say with that line? They'll say, well, what I was trying to say was this. And I said, well, let's say that then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to, what the hell does that mean? And we try and be highfalutin and clever, and it's just like it's going woof like that. So my stuff is quite colloquial, and I know that a lot of people look down their nose at rhyme, and not all of my poems rhyme, but some of them do, and there's fun with rhyme. There's fun with rhyme, but some people are a little snobby with rhyme. Throw that editor out. You can mess about with it when you've truly got your heart and soul on that page. Just literally pour it out onto the page. You can neaten it down and get rid of the words that aren't doing any work, can't you? As you know, the ands and buts and so's and all that. But really pour your heart out and then think, what am I trying to say? and make sure that comes across. Yeah. Excited to see your work, actually.
Tell us about how you practice your poems. I mean, I noticed that you have them mostly memorized, and that a couple of them you're looking at to read, but you're not stuck to the page. You know, that you're still engaged with the audience. Tell us about how you practice that.
Well, I was challenged by a poet friend of mine from Corby. He's poorly, very poorly at the moment, actually, in hospital. And he had the same set he'd done for years, and he knew it off by heart. And he took the mickey out of me because I didn't. And I always had a book there just in case, or a music stand with it on just in case. And he really challenged me. And he said, yeah, Kezzabelle, you've got to up your game. He said, have they got the book in the hand? And he would rib me about it. And actually, it was only the first 4 books or so, I didn't have the confidence to not have that book in my hand. And when I performed in Amsterdam, I did perform it without the book. I didn't refer to the book once, but it was still in my hand. So it's funny, it's almost, but I used to drop my daughter off at work, and then I would walk around the lake and just speak my poems over and over and over. But actually, what I did learn by doing that was the intonation and the change, because, you know, that sometimes you hear poets and they have the same song. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Diddly 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 do, and no matter how different the words are, it's the same intonation, and we all have different ways and things that we do, but I think it's quite important, because then when you're saying it over and over again, so I'm just looking at down now a stanza. I love you, but can you be more villanelle, song or sonnet? Can you resist the need to persist, to tweak, to change, to edit? Now, when you first read that, you might not hang on that word, can you? Or you might go, can you? Can you? Can you? Can you? And you try in all different ways of how you would get that across and how you really speak. Because that's another thing. I did a workshop with Kay Tempest. I don't know if you know her work, incredible poet. And she came to Corby and we did some poems, and she came on, and in her workshop, someone came on and they started doing this voice, and she said, well, what's that voice? You didn't speak like that a minute ago. And it was her poetry voice. And she said, what are you doing? And really told her off. And she said, speak from the heart, speak your true voice, you know. And I know sometimes we take a breath and we might ham it up a little, you know. But actually, she was right. It's really important to speak your voice. And, you know, and if something is on your mind, remember how it was when you wrote it. You know, the poem Words Hurt, I remember how much that hurt. And that's why at the end I take my time, because I remember it hurting. And I hope you felt that hurt as I had to walk away from that drinker who I loved and still love. But yeah, so I think it's important. And another thing that Kay Tempest did, she went into a poem and she said, hang on, I'm going to stop. My mind is still thinking about what we were talking about a minute ago between poems. Let me start afresh. And then she got into the zone, and I learned that from her too, so that you really are in that poem, as opposed to reading it or reciting it. You're feeling it.
I was just thinking about when you were talking about rhyme, and it really helps your delivery and our absorbing of it. And in some ways, it reminds me of some hip hop stuff, which I'm not really familiar, but I wondered if you're influenced by hip hop and rap at all.
I know some amazing rappers, and actually it's not really my thing, but I used to do a lot of youth work, and I still do some work encouraging youth to work. And if you say, let's write a poem, they go F off, you know. But if you say, let's write a rap, suddenly from their heart, they're pouring out these words that are so powerful. And it just happens to be in a faster, different beat. That's all. That's all. And there's an amazing rapper called Comprehend. You can understand every word he says. It's not blah, 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 and he doesn't repeat, because there's some lazy rappers out there that don't even bother to rhyme. They use the same word, and it does that one where he goes Kodak and the Kodak. Honestly, it kills me. It's like, don't be so lazy. But actually, it also, when I was first challenged by Anne Ayler, amazing creative writing workshop lady, and she said, write a poem without rhyming. And I found it really hard. It was in the early days, about 12 years ago. And and I did. And actually, it can free you. If it starts to lend itself to rhyme, that's fine. Or if you twist a line round and it rhymes, fine. But if you start changing what you want to say just to make it rhyme, that's when it's going down the pan, because you're losing the power of what you want to say. So that's where we have to be careful, I think. But yeah, I love playing with rhythms, and there's a poem that I do actually sing called Warborn Things, and it's on my CD and my download. And yeah, so there's a mix. Yeah, there is a mix of that sing song, but I don't listen to rap at home. But there are some rappers who I admire, and I'm part of a festival called Kaya Fest at the end of August, and I'm booking poets, rappers, comedians, and there's some some fantastic rappers that are just superb poets. So yeah, check out Comprehend. Really good. Yeah,
well, Kezzabelle, this has been wonderful. It gives us a little feeling of your workshop. And it'd be great if we could somehow find money to bring you over here sometime.
I definitely want to come over. I definitely want.
Or find money to take us all over to see you.
Yeah.
I'd like that too.
Yeah, and you could come over and perform for me in August, couldn't you? To Kaya Fest. I love all the different styles of poets, and I'm meeting so many new people. And of course, the internet has opened up the world of poetry as well, hasn't it? And with the different styles and yeah, different. Everyone being themselves through their words and different ways. I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. I had no idea this is what I'd be doing. I had no idea. I just started writing because I was struggling, going, what's going on? And I don't know what to do. And I wrote, and that's how I started. It's powerful. It's powerful. You know, I've seen it in mental health wards when a young woman was self-harming, and she came to a weaving word session, and that night, instead of cutting, she was writing, getting the same release. It's powerful. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. And I really wanted to invite you because I think you could
thank you.
Really help a lot of people get off their page and express themselves more. So.
Yeah.